Friends, thank you for staying with me. Before I dive in, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on more of this type of discussion. Alright, let's get right into it. Today, we are going to talk about a bold headline: Simon Ekpa advises what Nnamdi Kanu should do to escape every trial. This one is full of tension, controversy, politics, law, and emotion. So let me try to unpack it clearly for you, step by step, in a way everyone can follow. So first, who are we dealing with? Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of IPOB, the indigenous people of Biafra. He is in the middle of multiple legal battles in Nigeria, charged with terrorism, treasonable felony, and other counts. His trial has been delayed many times. Simon Ekpa is a controversial separatist figure. He was recently convicted by a Finnish court, sentenced to 6 years in prison, for charges including terrorism-related offenses and aggravated tax fraud. Many people are watching because both names carry weight in the debates around secession, self-determination, law, and national security. Now, the headline says, Simon Ekpa advises what Kanu should do to escape every trial. Let me put that in context. Ekpa, despite being convicted already abroad, is still active, in rhetoric or statements, in the political discourse around IPOB and the Southeast agitation. He sometimes positions himself as someone with insight, or someone who has ideas on how Kanu can avoid or manage his legal troubles. But before we assume the advice is powerful or even viable, we must examine the legal and political realities. The legal reality. First, Ekpa's conviction in Finland does not have a direct legal bearing on Kanu's trial in Nigeria. Nigerian lawyers and activists have made this point clear: each man is being tried for specific charges under different jurisdictions. What Ekpa did in Finland is judged under Finnish law, what Kanu is facing is judged under Nigerian law. You can't automatically import one foreign ruling into another case. Furthermore, IPOB itself has tried to distance itself from Ekpa following his conviction, making it clear that his conviction should be viewed independently. So, advice from Ekpa now has to compete with the fact that many in IPOB are saying, that is his burden, not ours. What kind of advice might Ekpa be giving? Though we do not have the exact full text of advice in the headline, we can reasonably infer what such advice might include. Legal strategies, filing motions, raising constitutional arguments, challenging jurisdiction. Political strategies, public appeal, international pressure, media mobilization. Avoiding exposure, staying out of controversies, avoiding inflammatory actions. Building alliances, seeking support inside and outside Nigeria. Negotiation or dialogue, seeking a deal or a mediated solution. But whether such advice is useful or safe is a different question. The challenges to that advice. Ekpa's credibility is damaged. After his conviction in Finland, many will view his advice with suspicion. He now has been legally judged for acts of violence or incitement. That weakens his moral authority. The legal framework is firm. The Nigerian courts are under pressure and are sensitive to security concerns. Kanu's trial is not an open and shut case where you can easily evade everything. Some courts have already rejected attempts to drop charges. Linkage in public perception. The government and some media may try to link Kanu to Ekpa's violent agenda, even if the connection is weak. That means Kanu's defense may be forced to counter not only legal arguments but also perception and narrative battles. Internal division. If IPOB is publicly distancing itself from Ekpa, Kanu must choose carefully whether to accept or reject such advice, lest it create internal discord or political backlash. What should Kanu do, based on all this? Now, if I were advising him, or you as a listener trying to understand, here's what seems more grounded and safer than simply following Ekpa's advice. Focus on strong legal defense, challenge jurisdictional lapses, demand fair hearings, file every constitutional motion possible. Make sure evidence is scrutinized. Leverage public and international opinion, bring attention to due process, human rights, and fairness. This can pressure for transparency. Keep a clear separation from anyone convicted or controversial. If Ekpa's name becomes a burden, keep your distance and argue your case on your own merits. Be consistent in rhetoric. If you have always claimed to be nonviolent, stick to it. Avoid provocative statements that can be used to damage your case. Explore negotiation, mediation, or political avenues. Sometimes, courts may not resolve the entire issue. Diplomacy may complement legal battle. A twist: what is happening right now? The Finnish court has already delivered the verdict on Ekpa, 6 years in prison for terrorism and tax offenses. IPOB has responded by saying Ekpa's conviction is his cross to bear and that IPOB should not be linked. Nigerian courts have rejected Kanu's bid to get the case thrown out. The judge says there is enough evidence for him to face trial. Also, legal minds in Nigeria are pointing out that the conviction of Ekpa in Finland has no direct bearing on the Kanu case, even though the political narrative may twist them together. So, the stage is this: Ekpa's fall is firm. Kanu's future is in the balance. The government will likely try to use Ekpa's conviction as a tool in the narrative war against IPOB and Kanu. That means Kanu must be more cautious now than ever. Now that we've broken down the story of Simon Ekpa's advice and how it connects to Nnamdi Kanu's trial, let's look at what this whole situation actually means for Nigeria, politically, socially, and even in terms of national unity. You see, whenever there is talk of Nnamdi Kanu or IPOB, emotions rise. Some people believe he is fighting for justice, fairness, and equality for the Southeast. Others see his movement as dangerous and divisive. But what's common is that everyone agrees the handling of his case has dragged on for too long and has caused tension in the region. So, when Simon Ekpa comes out with statements about what Kanu should do, people listen carefully, even if they disagree with him, because every word around that case can affect public mood. Let's talk about the current mood in the Southeast. Many people in the Southeast are tired of the constant sit-at-home orders and insecurity. Businesses have been affected, schools have been interrupted, and innocent lives have been lost. Even traditional rulers and community leaders have been pleading for peace, urging both IPOB followers and the government to find a lasting solution. And that's why Simon Ekpa's own actions before his conviction got a lot of criticism, because many said his so-called defense of Biafra was making life harder for the very people he claimed to protect. Now that he's in prison in Finland, those same communities are saying, let him face his case, we want peace here. This is why some people feel that Ekpa giving Kanu any kind of advice right now may not help Kanu's image at all. Because instead of helping, it could make things look worse, as if Kanu is still tied to the same line of thinking that brought so much trouble to the region. Politically, what does this mean for Nigeria? It's actually quite serious. The government, both federal and state, is watching closely. Every move around this issue can affect national stability. If there's any unrest in the Southeast, it spreads fear in other parts of the country. That's why security agencies remain alert. But beyond that, this whole case has opened a big question: how does Nigeria deal with political grievances and agitations? Is it through dialogue or through strict legal action? Many analysts say that if there's ever going to be peace, there must be talks, not just trials. The courts can punish crimes, yes, but they can't always fix political frustrations. Only negotiation and fair leadership can do that. What Nnamdi Kanu can do now? If Nnamdi Kanu wants to come out of this stronger, and many Nigerians, even outside the Southeast, actually hope he does, he needs to play smart, both legally and politically. He should continue focusing on legal defense, through his lawyers who understand the Constitution well. They can push for fair hearings and ensure he is not being treated unfairly under any law. Public communication, staying consistent in his message. People respect consistency. If he stands for peaceful self-determination, he must keep saying it clearly and avoid statements that can be twisted. Distancing from violence, completely. That's the part most Nigerians are watching. If there's any sign of violence, people turn away. Engagement, if the chance ever comes for dialogue, either with state governors, traditional rulers, or federal officials, he should consider it seriously. Dialogue is not weakness, it's maturity. For Nigerians listening, this whole issue is also a reflection of how our country handles disagreement. In a democracy, people must be free to express themselves, but within the law. The moment expression turns to violence or threats, the message gets lost. And that's where both sides, government and activists, must learn balance. You can't silence people by force, and you can't make progress by burning your own home. What Nigeria needs now is fairness, conversation, and development in every region. So when you hear headlines like, Simon Ekpa advises what Nnamdi Kanu should do to escape every trial, remember that it's not just gossip. It's a piece of a bigger story about justice, leadership, and how Nigerians are learning to handle disagreement without destroying themselves. Now, before we close this segment, please don't forget again, like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss when we drop the next update on this case and other trending political stories.